Okay, this is a public hearing, and opening the public hearing, what we will do is see how long it takes us to get through the public hearing, and then if there's more time, we will go back to looking at the specifics of the application. By starting on page 23 of the subdivision ordinance and just checking to see that we have all the different pieces of paper that we need and so forth. Things have been submitted. So, Jamie, do you want to introduce the project?
Good evening again. Jamie Garland, Mainland Development Consultants. I'm here tonight with Andrew Porter, who is the owner of the property. We are proposing a 7-lot subdivision off of Pigeon Brook Road. There are 4 lots that are just over 3 acres. 1 lot that's about 12 acres. Oh, I'm sorry.
You can't hear. Just a little louder.
I'm sorry.
And y'all want to see the map? I want to make sure y'all can see.
I apologize. Last meeting I had to put it back there, so.
Can everybody see?
Yeah, that's great.
Better?
Again, we're proposing a 7-lot subdivision off of Pigeon Brook Road. There are 4 lots that are a little over 3 acres, identified right here. 1 lot that's about 15 acres. I'm sorry, 12 acres. And then there are 2 larger lots, 53 acres and 73 acres. The site has had the wetlands delineated. Site evaluations have been done for subsurface wastewater disposal systems, septic systems on the site, and our geologist has looked at the site and prepared a memo with regarding to well supply, water supply in the area. That's the high level. We're just trying to subdivide the land, so that's the high level for this. I have a smaller map I can look at too.
Does anybody have any questions? I mean, I know you 4 have been here before, and Jim and Betty have not. If there's anything Jamie can answer or I can answer for you, Jim or Betty, happy to. I have some questions because people have been talking to me about this. Is the biggest thing going on in town right now.
I'm not waiting a lot of towns right now.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One, I want the fire department to look at your access. I'm just seeing and hearing a lot about the dangers of putting long roads in, that that they be built so that a fire truck can come down and an ambulance can be going the other direction. Because we have situations in town where that's not true. And I'm just absolutely horrified at that idea, that fire trucks can't pass. You can't bring water in and pass an ambulance. No. And the other is that long road down to your larger lot,
Lot 6.
Lot 6, on the easterly one. I guess I want to know that the DEP approves of what's going on there. I mean, we walk there, and it's sort of like it's been gullied out, you might say, by ATVs, and I'll wait, because I want you guys all to be engaged, and I can't talk with Betty talking, so it's okay. I want to know that we aren't looking at going through wetlands. There's a wetland that goes through, and we're going through it because I think you said that there's a path there, so you get to have a driveway there. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I need it explained.
Yeah, can I answer that?
Sure, please.
With regards to DEP, there are 2 triggers stormwater law, and then the natural resource protection. That was the driver for us to go out and delineate the wetlands on the project.
Yep.
Wetlands are shown on the plan, and we're not impacting wetlands as part of this project, so it will not trigger any DEP permitting with regards to wetlands. The other question would be stormwater. Stormwater requires you to disturb over an acre of land and create 1 acre of impervious area, just less than 1 acre of impervious area, and that would be a permit by rule. At this time, none of the lots 1 through 4 don't cause anything. Lot 7 doesn't cause anything, and lot 6, even with the length, wouldn't trigger that acre of disturbed area.
What are you going to make the driveway out of?
The driveway, right now, we're just splitting lots. I recognize we do have to talk about the road width.
Yeah.
And we can go through that. But it's going to be a gravel road going through there. It'll be built to the 18-inch DOT specifications, whether it's 5 inches of surface, 3 inches of subbase. DOT for gravel roads in most towns carry that 18 inches. We look at the driveway standards for the town.
But to be clear, are we talking about the driveway?
Driveway.
A driveway standard or a road standard?
It's still around that 18 inches going through it.
Okay, and so we require a right of way, which is part of that's going to be right of way, rather than owning the land underneath.
No, this is it. So the driveway is dedicated. When we put on the sidewalk, we recognize that we can give each lot its individual driveway to itself.
Okay.
So that's dedicated to lot 6 is going to be completely separated from lot 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
there's no private, like, to be clear, I think that may have been where your initial question, or at least that was my interpretation. There's no private road being built, right? There's no private road for access for all of each track is going to have.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it. There's also the problem of when you're talking about things that people travel over, whether you call it a private road or a driveway, it just becomes mystifying to me what the legal implications are as you change the name you call it.
Yeah. So the driveway to lot 6 is intended to be a driveway, not a road with a 50-foot right of way associated.
Okay. Yeah.
And just from an owner standpoint, when something finally gets built on lot 6, it will be wide enough because you as a homeowner don't want to be coming down. You're coming in, your wife's coming out, and one of you has to do a long backup.
Yeah, and we, as I say, I speak for everyone. We're really concerned about fire, and we've seen situations where fire engines couldn't turn around, had to back out all the way. Just other horrific stories. The fire department's meeting right now. I could go get one of them.
I'd be glad to talk to them offline.
Yeah.
I want them to take time, and I will I spent over a decade as a firefighter.
Yeah.
So I am very familiar with having to back the fire apparatus on long driveways.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yep.
And I'd like to get their okay on your plan.
With that, the width of the road, if and when something's built down there,
yep.
I'd ask as we go down through this, again, we'll communicate with them, we'll work with them now.
Yep.
But somehow a condition of approval for the building permit that the road be built to this standard. Because again, right now, all we're looking to do is split lots, and again, I recognize we've got to have access into there, but have the road width be finalized with the town on the issuance of a building permit. Because right now, it's the dirt track, and that's what it is, and if I was to drop down and have a heart attack when we were out there doing the sidewalk, which I came close to, you're battling that same problem.
Yeah. Okay, so just something we have to recognize and deal with.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So originally my understanding was lots 6 and 7 were just kind of going to be put aside, Andy, for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just wondering why there has to be a road? Is that
Okay, so address me, please. Andy, she's addressing me.
So I'm just wondering why there has to be a road put in if it was going to be in tree growth and just generationally passed down.
Okay.
Is that because it's a subdivision that it has to be a road,
if a house goes in, there has to be a road to the house.
Okay, so there is a
And-
plan for a house to go in.
And so that, when we do a subdivision, we take all that into account, whether he
Okay.
builds the house this year or 10 years from now
Yep.
is immaterial to us.
Can I expound on that just a second?
Sure.
And just to clarify, we could have saved Andy a lot of stress and time and gone in for the minor subdivision. You probably would be a lot happy with me. But we're trying to do this right now so that these are individual structures, and I can tell you from having 3 kids of my own, they love each other today. 10 years from now, they may hate each other tomorrow morning. So structuring these as lots, they have their own access, it's done. Everything's set up for the future, there's no worries, there's no, did dad love me more or not?
Mhm.
One of the things I think people don't understand about subdivisions, it's quite a burden on the landowner in that what gets defined here is defined forever. And the only way to get it changed is to come back to the planning board. If you want to put up another house or you want to put in a racetrack, you come to the planning board. You want to do things that you could do with your land if you were not a subdivision. The whole subdivision has to come in and be modified. It's quite a burdensome thing.
So sticking with this driveway, so I thought we were gonna put the driveway on the plan, like where exactly it's going.
We had talked about where was it, we're gonna talk about showing it exactly, yeah.
Well, I think it's important to show where it is because, you know, you said all this work to figure out what the right route is. But if you sell off the property, then the person who buys it may not have that sort of, you know,
And just the simple, it's coming straight in off of the road by C1. We're going into where that existing trailhead is for lot 6. And then in off the existing gated access for anybody that's at the sidewalk, that takes you right into lot 7.
yeah, so, I mean, I'd like to see that on lots 5, 6, and 7, how you propose to access because it's a pretty small buildable area, like right below right next to the lot 61, or is it lot 6?
Lot 6.
Yeah, that's where that's the buildable area, right?
Correct, yeah.
So, it seems to me that we'd want to see that driveway in, because you say you're avoiding this and that in terms of, environmental stuff that you're going through a certain spot. So it seems to me we want to have that on the plan for lot 6, and then for lot 7, same thing, and then lot 5 as well. That's how you're going to get to lot 5, how you get to that buildable area on lot 5. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 seems pretty straightforward. You're going to come from the road in. Doesn't look like there's any real environmental issues there, but the other ones have more environmental issues. So I'd really like to see that on the plan. And then to the extent that, I know we're not building this today, but to the extent that you're bringing in utilities, you're going to do that on the road, or are you going to do that some other way?
No, come right down the road line.
Okay, so that's even more reason to have it up there. That's going to be the access point.
Yeah, if I were the neighbors on lot, what is that, 5, I would want to know where the driveway is going to be. You know, just as a reassurance of, okay, that's what's going to happen. Surprises are terrible.
If you wanted my honest opinion,
Yeah.
if we're going to show these on there, I would show an access from either side. Because both sides have an access to get down, and it keeps us out of the RP zone there for lot 5. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, I'd show it to both sides. If you can do it both sides, I'd show it.
Because what I don't want to do is, as you pointed out, this is going to go through a final approval.
Yep.
And get Andy handcuffed.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. I mean, on lot 6, you know, like how close to the river are you getting? Do you have any clearing issues if you're going to have to clear area? I mean, all those things are concerning to me on that driveway.
one, yeah.
along the
Yeah,
way.
well,
That's
the
the first one
sidewalk.
about the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That was it,
Yeah.
we never received
We
any
received the
other.
one for this one. If we hadn't been here last meeting, we might not have.
Oh, wow, yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. I know there's
Because I
one
did
in
the exact
paper one.
same thing, I just duplicated my, like, Groundhog Day.
No. And I guess we're not the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, so I put him in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he said he'd do it, but we said we wanted to do it, so
Yeah,
that's why he
yeah.
didn't do it, just to answer your question.
That's a big one.
Question. Before, so there's gonna be a new road being built in lot 6, a new access driveway, whereas before you had talked about, I'm sorry, you had, Jamie.
Try, address.
I had to ask him the question though, so how do I address you when I ask?
You can tell me
Okay.
what question you want to ask.
Before, at the last meeting, it was talked about moving the property line for the, between lot 6 and 7 to allow for the road access. But then now, there's gonna be a road put in, which, am I understanding that correct? Instead of moving the line?
So, explain that again to us, please.
We did adjust the property line, between lots 6 and 7. And so what we wanted to do was retain the access that exists currently, the gated access to lot 7. That's contiguous, comes down through, and there's a straight clearing that will, the driveway will come down and you connect back into the trail and go down through to get to lot 6's, buildable area.
Jim, I think that further emphasizes what David was saying. We need to show all of these driveways.
Okay, I see, this map's not the same as that.
I'm sorry, if you got the little one, that was in the original application.
Okay, that's why it's not making sense now, okay.
Okay.
Another question?
Yes, please.
Where we didn't get letters in the mail was the people that are across the river, were there the letters sent? Because they're technically
The
about.
town, yeah, someone said,
Okay, and whoever controls the Saco River corridor, that group,
The Saco River Corridor Commission.
okay, were they notified of any of this? Because I know that they have some.
so you talked to them, haven't you?
We've reached out to Saco River Corridor Commission, we've given them the plan for the subdivision.
You need to see their review.
They told us that the only time we'll need to come to them is when we pull building permits to do anything for the project.
Why can't we see that one? Any comments that they might have?
The email we got back was contact us when you pull building permits.
Doesn't help us.
I can't push an organization to give me, I can give you the email if they responded back.
I think it's a big deal what's happening with the Saco River.
Don, I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
I said that, he said that we would see what Saco River Commission's response was at the time of building.
Oh, no, I apologize. We sent this plan to them and received comment back that
We haven't seen their comments.
I will gladly send you those.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But their comment was, when you go to pull building permits, that's when we'll look at your project.
That's what I'm saying. That's late for us. I'd like to see their comments, any comment that they might have now. I mean, we're talking about there's a lot of environmental issues we've been touching on it as we're going. Saco River Commission really has final say as to what's happening.
I fully agree, and that's why immediately at the start of this project, we sent them this subdivision plan. The only change that they haven't seen is the Pigeon Brook, which won't
So
affect
they're
them.
supporting it as it is.
As of right now, they told us, and I'll gladly send you the emails, is the only time we need to work with them is on Lot 6's road where we put that in.
So it goes back to the driveway again, we gotta figure out you gotta figure out where that is, 'cause that sounds like it does trigger what. From what you just said, correct me if I'm wrong, where the driveway goes in and how it's put in, that will be of interest to the corridor committee?
They'll work with us on putting the driveway in now.
Okay. So will they work with you if you put it on the map? Are they gonna wanna have input on it?
I would gladly resend to them, but we've pointed all this out to them.
Yeah, okay.
They really need to comment on that now, because if the subdivision, once it's approved,
And then they come and say, you can't do that because you haven't followed all the rules. You want to avoid that. So if they want to impose any restrictions, they're gonna need to do that now.
I fully recognize we've done our due diligence, submitted the letter to them as we're supposed to, got them engaged early, and got tickets.
I think what maybe Don, this also bothers you is that we'll see their comments at the time. And building permit, that's a little late in the process for us.
Again, I fully agree. I'm just working with what we have with these agencies.
I'm just telling you what we just said.
So kind of moving off the driveway for a second, so looking at the lot 6 and lot 7, so you have a circle with a house in it, is that?
No, I apologize. I'll let you finish. I'm sorry. I jumped you.
Is that a circle with a house in it?
No, the square you see there on lot 7, put a square around it is a proposed septic field, and that's a well setback area. You can't have a well within 100 feet of the septic system.
Okay, and so what about on lot 6, what's that circle with the box in it?
Same thing. Yeah,
So,
all through lots, those are the same symbology.
so have you identified where the buildable area is on these properties?
Yep. On lot 6, delineated out in this upland area here, just adjacent to where the septic field is. Lot 7 is the same thing. You got the setback from the floodplain zone, and it's this area here. Lot 5 is this area here, and this carries right up through those areas.
Okay. Maybe if you can do something different to delineate that, it doesn't pop out at me. I don't know, do you guys see it, Eugenia?
Didn't we talk about this the last time we talked about this map, that it wasn't clear to us? I thought we talked about that.
I mean, once he says it's clear, but
Yeah.
it is. So in terms of, so that buildable area, do you have a plan for how much clearing, if any, you'll propose?
Nothing at this time.
Well, I know about this time, but like just in terms of the development, I think it's potentially interesting to know if you intend to clear cut the area, or if you have no intention whatsoever. And I think that probably plays into the Saco Corridor Committee of what you can. I'm trying to help you here. I'm not trying to hurt you.
No,
I think the neighbors would appreciate if you said, we're only looking at the buildable area that we're gonna do development in, and we're not gonna develop the rest of it. We're not gonna clear cut the rest of it. And I don't know what your plans are, so I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but if in fact you have that sort of, intention, it may be helpful.
So one, anything done on here would have to be complying with Saco River Corridor Commission. And anything we do. 2, these larger lots, in the 15-acre lot, 12-acre lot, will still be allowed to stay in the tree growth. Not tree growth, yeah, tree growth. That's part of Andrew's intent for this. As far as, again, what's going to happen in there, the ag here is well access for a well, septic, and access to the site. But with the plan is just to divide the land at this time.
Well, I understand, but you're also planning to put houses in.
No.
Well, wait. Okay.
We're in our moment, we're not planning to put any houses on track 6, track 7. Honestly, any of the lots at any point in the near future. That is not our plan. The plan, as I said during the sidewalk, and I don't think but is I bought the land. I want to keep in my family for a long time. Our initial plan was to buy it with me and some other members of my family at the outset, and then wanted, together through an LLC. The property came available, or it was for sale. It went under contract, and then it fell through. Went back on the market, and instead of trying to get all my ducks in a row with my family, right, we jumped on it immediately, and I bought it by myself, and I said, I'll do the back end piece and do the subdivision, and then we can split it out that way, right? Hopefully that makes sense. It's a little complicated. So the intention is basically for any of the lots on this, right? I have no intention to sell any of them to the public at any point, unless, again, something got catastrophic happens and that whatever, the plan is to keep it within my family or just to keep it myself. And I have no intention at any point right now to build. I know the question came up about, well, now you're talking about building roads. Like, obviously, I think we need to map out where a driveway would go, but we're not building any public roads, you know, like, where the
I get that.
no. So the driveway, wherever the driveway may or may not, like, I think I agree that we need to distinguish that, that's important, so we have understanding that. I think that's reasonable. But in doing that exercise, it's not because, like, in 3 months or 6 months or whatever, I'm gonna be building a house, because that is not the intention. And then one other point, I met with the tree growth folks, today. They
You
came
met
out.
with the forest.
Oh, sorry, the forestry folks. I want to keep me honest on that. The forestry, a forestry guy today, who had done the plan, prior to me buying. And I said to him, and my intention has been and will continue to be I'm not clear cutting anything. I'm going to cut. He basically said, you don't need to do anything for 10 years if you don't want to. I have really no major intention of doing any major clearing. The only thing that I would like to do, if I could, and I don't know if I can, potentially, as we get closer to the river, I want to cut some of the limbs to open up the view, right, of the river.
That's something you gotta ask
Of
something.
course. And he said that, but even if he said, you should be fine, you talk to them, and I will,
Yeah.
but he's like, if you're cutting the limbs and not the trees, that's what he said, you should be fine. But
They're pretty understanding.
yeah, again, I'm not, but the goal and I want to make clear, we're not clear cutting. We're not clear cutting anything for a lot. We're not doing, that's not the intention, and that's not, like, I'm happy to provide, once I get this, hopefully we get it all over the line, I'm happy to come back and present to y'all the tree growth actual plan to show you that the plan is what I've been saying tonight and what I've been saying.
Right. We're all familiar with tree growth plans and stuff, and it's more, I take you at face value. I don't know you. I trust you because I don't know you. That's my kind of my philosophy. But the thing about it is once we grant a subdivision permit, it doesn't really matter whether you have intent or not. You have a right to sell the property the next day if you want. Like, and we're not going to put in there. You can only sell to relatives, and you can't like that's not going to happen. You know, but I trust your intent. I think I'm one of the board, but I think the board's job is to make sure that the subdivision plan ordinance is followed, and to do as much as we can within that ordinance to reduce impact on neighbors.
Sure. And
nobody in this room wants this land clear cut, including you.
Right.
And so what I'm trying to, the reason I'm asking the questions is because the stricter we can jointly make this subdivision to allow you to do what you want to do, but make it as strict as we can within what you want to do, it protects everyone. And so if your plan 20 years from now is, I might want to put a house up there, make clear, an acre or two and get a road in there, then, maybe we can add some restrictions to allow you to do that, but still protect as much as possible using the subdivision ordinance. So that's why I'm probing, is I'm just trying to figure out how far you're interested in going in terms of jointly making restrictions on the whole thing, so we can keep this as beautiful as it is today.
Sir, when you say jointly make restrictions, help me understand what you mean when you say jointly make restrictions.
Sure. So, for instance, if you said, I could never foresee doing anything in lot 6 because putting in a driveway and clearing, how big is that buildable area?
It's a decent sizable area there, but it goes on.
Like 17 acres?
Yeah.
On lot 7?
Lot size.
So I could never see clearing more than 5 or 6 acres on lot 6. And I'd say, well, you know, is that like, that's set in stone? I'm never going to do it. Well, then we could put a restriction that, by agreement, that area would never be cleared more than 6 acres. You know, it wouldn't restrict your ability to forest, but you wouldn't be able to clear for a buildable lot other than that area. It's not necessarily into the subdivision ordinance, but we're doing it by agreement, putting it in there as a restriction because you're cool with it.
I'm not, to be clear, like, I would not be comfortable with it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's why I'm trying to probe.
Fair enough. Yeah, like, I hear what you're saying, but to me, like, yeah, that would be, we're kind of following all the guidelines. We've been following everything from day one in terms of the subdivision. And although, I can assure you, I have no intention of doing that. Like, I wouldn't want to put a restriction on property in perpetuity so that, again, if everything goes as planned 50 years from now, maybe that's being generous. If when I pass and I give it to my kids, if they want to clear more, I don't know. I wouldn't want to handcuff the property.
I get it. I get it. This is what we do, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that could possibly go back and come to the board again and being like, hey, you know, I do want to, you know, I want to build more on this buildable spot. So let's say we put the restriction in now, but later on, can it possibly be that, you know, coming back to the planning board and asking to have that adjusted?
Like Jeff said, that's a pain.
It is a pain.
But we can't force it.
And that would be a cost on, like, an added cost to me. And again, I think what I've said all along, and I don't want to emphasize, but I think it's important to note, and you guys have been great to work with, but from day one, I made a commitment to invest and do the right way from the process as required by the town, right? And working with Jamie and Mainland, haven't cut any corners, and that suggestion or even that potential idea would end up costing me more and more and more. And like, I would want to avoid that. I don't.
And take David at face value. You know, you'll find it works.
Yeah.
You know, he's not trying to do anything underhanded or anything. It's just, you know, what's going on here? That's all. And I'd like to address the coming back to the planning board to change. One of the things that happens is that anything can happen. You may come back asking for one thing, and the planning board says, well, this is what's changed in the meantime. And so we're going to bring you up to current code, so to speak, where the current laws are now rather than what they were. And so it's very, it's really not favorable to a person to come back to get anything changed. But who knows what happens in the future? Laws, you know, coming from Augusta could have 8-acre zoning on the Saco River in 20 years. I don't know. We just do the best we can, and we fight it off by saying to Andy, this is all you can do. Whatever it is, we agree on. You know, that's how we fight off development. Unfortunately, that's the way it works.
And there's only so much we can do in the ordinance. We can't necessarily just require only develop, like, to cut a certain area. Like, that's not necessarily within the ordinance. That would have to be by agreement.
You know, I've got a question. Go back to tree growth again. Is this property under tree growth now?
Well, yes, the entire property is
The entire property, correct?
Yeah, and so again, and I said to Josiah, I have, it's a little bit confusing me, but what he said, when I bought the property, I was told that like 125 acres are in tree growth. What he said to me today is the entire property is in tree growth, but this area, right, like over here is, I'm trying to remember what he said. It's something like it's designated for residential. It's in tree growth, but it's at a higher tax rate.
understand, let me back up.
I
Yeah.
don't
Let
understand
me
that
just,
at all.
let me just talk about
Maybe I'm butchering. He said something
maybe
like,
this will help you.
yeah, I can send you the map.
With Treat Road, you're gonna have a portion of the property that's gonna be developed that will not be in the Treat Road area.
Correct.
You understand it?
Right.
You're gonna have to show, your forester is gonna have to show that piece of property, and it goes back to what David was saying about clearing.
Yeah.
You're gonna be showing that sometime, you're gonna be showing those areas for development.
Right.
Because that's gonna be excluded from tree growth.
Tree growth.
Now, there's a different tax rate on developed property
Right.
versus a tree growth property.
Right.
The town is gonna be very concerned about what those limits are.
Okay.
Because they're gonna base your assessment on it.
Right, so from my understanding, right, is that going back to the forestry, let's say I work with the gentleman I met with today. He said that I could keep in tree growth, like the two bigger parts, the 125 acres, keep a tree growth for 10 years and not do a thing. But if in 7 years or in 10 years, I come in and I say, okay, now it's time, I'm gonna build a house for my daughter and a house for my son.
Let me speak back up.
Yeah.
What he was speaking about was your maintenance of the property. You know, you can do a major cut, or you could do no cut for growth.
Mhm.
So he was talking about no growth for,
He said no cut, he said,
no cut for growth, basically.
he basically said he said the existing plan was 10 years without any cutting. And I said, okay, what can I get away with not cutting and still being in tree growth and this, he said you could go another 10 years. And so I think from my perspective is I don't want to go back to him, and I certainly don't want to present anything to y'all and say, hey, I'm going to build this house, I'm going to carve off this driveway and do this, because that will impact my taxes. So I have no intention of doing
But someday, you're gonna develop property. When you do that, you're gonna have to, there's a penalty
Yes,
for
I know
taking
that.
property
I know that.
out of tree growth.
Yeah, taking the portion of property that will be developed.
That will, it goes back and you're gonna have to pay the penalty.
Yeah, it'll be retro.
Based on retro on taxes, okay?
Yep.
So it's really good to get that clear up front, exactly where these development areas are. You can get your tree growth plan modified, you wouldn't have to worry about that in the future.
But I wouldn't, but help me understand, because I'm new to this, it still wouldn't be in my best interest to take that out of tree growth now if I'm not gonna do anything to it, right? Wouldn't, correct, right? Like, in other words.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, later, you're gonna have to pay.
Yeah. So in other words, like, line it out or whatever, or map it out so that when the time comes, it's already, fair enough, that makes sense.
I mean, I have a piece of property, a large piece of property too, which I have a piece of it taken out right now.
Yeah.
My forest management plan.
Yeah.
It's clearly identified on the survey that this piece has been taken out for future
For
development.
development, okay.
I don't have to deal with it later on. My kids inherit the property, whatever. They can build something there.
Okay.
Fine, you see yourself to me. What are you talking about, your kid?
Huh?
Give it to me.
I'll give it to you. No, but you understand my
I
point.
understand, yeah.
If it's good, if you can get it done. now.
Yeah. You get it lined out, I get it. Right, fair enough.
So what do we have to do? We have driveways. Yep. And we have buildable area, better delineation. So
I'll change the line type, we'll make it bold.
Before I can see all this building area. And then, is there anything else that we're asking the applicant? Because this is just the
Yes,
first, this is the first review. We're not.
We get another public hearing, by the way.
At least.
Buildable area and fire department.
Fire department, also Saco River Commission, I'd like to see their letter.
Yeah,
That's a point of order.
yeah.
I did just to stay linear with myself, are we still in the public hearing, or are we in the?
We are in the public hearing.
No, we're
Talking to us, public.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, I wanted to know where I was.
So,
Just telling you what I'd like.
I probably want to have in that plan too, where the septic work has been done, and where you propose to put wells, things like that.
So we do have, site evaluations have been done that show the areas where septic can be built.
That's on-
Wells,
Okay, I thought one of them was too clear, so it's gonna have a septic. Oh, okay.
as for wells, we provided a letter from our geologist that talks about the geology of the soil, of the ground there. I can take my dosing rods out, we can go find one, but nobody sites a well until you get the well driller out there. All we do is say you have to be outside that 100-foot.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, do you have any more questions?
We don't.
Okay. Is there anything more that we can do for the public?
No, as far as I'm concerned, with the selling of the land, I support Andy. I think he's gonna be a great neighbor. I definitely
You're,
think he's doing things right.
you're in my camp. When you get new neighbors, you bring them a pie.
Any topic.
What?
I think
They have really good, vegetables.
Yeah, we always do me and not
Yeah.
Incredibly
Incredibly
Does that
gorgeous.
work?
And very, incredibly welcoming, so couldn't be more grateful for you guys.
So, anything else? So,
Can we ensure that next meeting letters are actually, or if they're sent, are actually sent in a way that they?
Yeah, we'll send them earlier, because we were pretty late this time, so I'll send them out earlier.
so we have.
Is there a date set for the next hearing?
No. We have work to do, these requirements that we came up with tonight, because what we want to do before we move forward is we want to say the application is complete. The preliminary application. This is what we're working on right now, is a preliminary application.
So
We want to be,
right now, the preliminary application, we would consider incomplete.
correct.
Okay.
So this is what makes it complete.
Can I ask a point of order?
Yes.
We haven't gone through it yet, but there's a checklist for the preliminary application.
Yeah.
And in there, the things we've gone over a lot, fine type weight style, a letter from the fire chief, and the Saco River Court of Commission are not requirements to get through at least preliminary approval.
Okay?
I'm not trying to push.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I haven't got the ordinance memorized yet.
Yeah, and again, that's this one thing I do want to jump in. I think, Jamie's gone through, and I know from day one y'all have asked to, submit everything, and he literally built a whole plan based on the checklist and went through it one by one by one by one by one. And I think,
So we can do that.
yeah, and we're happy to, and I don't know, the public, I don't know how you want to do it, but I would,
So we can do that. We can do it that way.
Yeah, because I think that, like, when we ask questions today, the idea is to integrate into the final plan.
Yeah.
So, I think we have the preliminary plan, we just don't have, but
Well-
you got the checklist, I don't.
Before I'm willing to say we have it, I would want to, I'd want to go through the checklist for the preliminary plan. And the way this ordinance is written, there are things that are written before the list of things we need for the preliminary plan that apply to the final plan.
What number are you on?
So I'm on page 23, 7.2, submissions. The preliminary plan,
Let's jump to point of order. Have we ended the public hearing?
yeah, sure, we have ended the public hearing. Yep,
So now we're starting the actual planning board meeting.
so, yes,
Okay. So I can note, I'm taking notes for us today, so.
okay.
Thank you.
we gotta get ChatGPT, that'll make it easier for you guys.
They tried it, it didn't work very well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like you just have a computer up and it just takes notes and makes
It
Yeah,
just,
we tried it.
no bueno.
it makes a word salad.
Ah,
I think it's come a long way since she did it.
It wasn't that bad.
Victoria tried it. There are better versions now.
So, what happened to the file? Does Carrie have the file on this?
Probably.
So probably Carrie has the file. Yeah, that'd be good. Because I'm going to just go on faith and memory. Preliminary plan application shall consist of the following items: application form, location map, existing subdivisions in the proximity, locations and names of existing and proposed streets. Do we really need these aren't streets, they're driveways, okay. Boundaries and designation of zoning districts doesn't apply. An outline of proposed subdivision and any remaining portion of the owner's property if the preliminary plan submitted covers only a portion of the owner's entire contiguous holding. There is something that you could do in Andy and or not, and I take that as a sign of honesty on your part that you're going to do what you say you're going to do with the land, that you're not just making a 2-acre lot in the middle of this 73 acres, for instance, and leaving the rest of the 73 acres, you could do something different with. It's out there.
I just, no, because I don't,
Yeah.
I hate, leaving things open like that, especially the public here. Just to note, lot 6 and 7, while they are a very beautiful, large swaths of land, they have a very restrictive buildable area, and to carve out a parcel of land within that, that would then require a road going down through the road with a 50-foot right of way, at which point, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never in a million years made sense.
I think it's clear. Yeah, I can't leave things like that open, because I'll wake up tonight thinking about it.
Preliminary plan. The preliminary plan shall be submitted in 3 copies of 1 or more maps or drawings, which may be printed or reproduced on paper, blah, blah, blah. Plans of subdivisions containing more than 100 acres may be drawn at a scale of not more than 200 feet per inch. Okay. Application requirements. The application preliminary plan approval shall include the following information. That the board may require additional information to be submitted where it finds necessary in order to determine whether the criteria of Title 30 MRSA 4, Section 444 are met. Proposed name of the subdivision. It is the Pigeon Brook subdivision, is that correct? Does it have a name?
At this time, for final application, we may come up with a revised name, Pigeon Brook.
Because it would be more convenient for us if you came up with a name sooner.
I mean, I think we'll leave it, because it's not a private road, so as long as you guys are cool with it, Pigeon Brook subdivision.
Pigeon Brook subdivision. Huh?
Cool.
We're taking proposals?
What do you got?
Andy's Folly.
Okay.
Sorry, I was waiting for that, really, I was waiting for that, that's all I had, I didn't have anything more.
Verification of right, title, or interest in the property. I think they have submitted a deed. A standard boundary survey, yes. A copy of the most recently recorded deed of the parcel, yes. Yeah, okay. What can I get you?
Where's the packet that was here?
That's what I was asking if Carrie had.
No, it's right here. That's our table. You know where, you know somebody?
It was there last time, right?
Yeah.
So somebody else is what I messed with.
Yeah. Okay, we'll find it.
I have a copy of the bound application.
Yeah, no, it was right there. Okay, go ahead. Wait on those.
There are no deed restrictions.
No, I don't have.
An indication of the type of sewage disposal, septic systems, an indication of the type of water supply, drilled wells. Do we have, Jamie, your letter from your geologist stating about the water?
Yeah, that just, I can give you a little bit more information. That will be located in section 5 of the application.
Okay, great. The date the plan was prepared, plan north. Names and addresses of the record owner, applicant, and individual or company who prepared the plan. A high-intensity soil survey by a certified soil scientist. Wetland areas shall be identified on the survey regardless of size. I think we, waived the high-intensity soil
and
survey.
provided the wetlands.
Yep. The number of acres within the proposed subdivision, location of property lines, existing buildings, vegetative cover type, and other essential existing physical features. The location of all rivers, streams, and brooks within or adjacent to the proposed subdivision. We aren't in the watershed of a great pond. Contour lines at the interval specified by the board. You've got contour lines on one of your maps.
I just know we did 2-foot contours, which is our industry standard.
Yep. The zoning district, it's, in the rural district, I believe.
Yes.
The location and size of existing and proposed sewers, water mains, culverts, and drainage ways on or adjacent to the property to be subdivided. Do you know if you have any culverts on any of this?
No culverts.
Okay.
Are you gonna build any culverts?
I don't, from the sidewalk when we went down through there, there's no need to build a culvert on the road. I'd be working with the code enforcement officer for the driveway culverts. I've had those hit or miss.
Required permit from the state? Culverts?
The Timber isn't a state road, is it?
I think it is.
It's a town road, is it not?
It's a town road.
I'm not talking about culvert on the driveway.
Yeah, we go through your code enforcement for any culverts on the driveway.
You don't say state.
No, only if it's in the DOT right away or compact.
But see, so when I look at the map, this drainage culvert is the dash, 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 dash.
I come over just look for something.
Oh, sure. Drainage culvert says right there.
Yes, this is, on our legend, just a typical legend we provide. There's things that could be found on the survey.
What are those dash, dash, dash?
Would be the trails. That'd be if you,
Alright, can you put something else on the legend to identify trail designation? That could be confused with culvert. Yeah. And if there's no drainage culverts, can you take that out of the legend?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
The location and size of existing and proposed sewers, water mains, culverts, and drainage ways on or adjacent to the property to be subdivided. Do we need to know where the culverts are going on the driveway from this?
That's what I'm saying.
if there was a culvert, it's gonna be at the driveway in that width. So we can make what I propose, is on the final plan, any driveways, culvert determination shall be coordinated with the town code enforcement officer. Or, do you have a road commissioner?
Yes,
Even better, I'd say with the road commissioner.
he would care even less because it's off of his road.
I give you both,
Yeah, or could do it,
and or, yeah.
yeah. Would that work for you, Don?
Generally, they do ask me and I run it by Chris. Just
Yeah.
see if he has any objection.
It sounds
So we take care of
like
that.
what we do anyway, so, good. Good. The location names, present widths of existing streets, highways, easements, buildings, lines, parks, and other open spaces on or adjacent to the subdivision. I don't think we're thinking at all about adjacent to the subdivision. It's not this isn't a place we do that.
Well, there's nothing of interest either. I mean, if there's a freeway next to it, we probably want to know that, but.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a freeway or an amusement park.
Width and location of any streets, public improvements, or open space shown upon the official map and the comprehensive plan, if any, within the subdivision. No. Proposed lot lines with approximate dimensions and lot acres, yes. all parcels of land proposed to be dedicated to public use and the conditions of such dedication. No, there's no land proposed. The location of any open space to be preserved and a description of the proposed ownership, improvement, and management. No. The area on each lot where existing forest cover will be permitted to be removed and converted to lawn structures or other cover, and any proposed restrictions to be placed on clearing existing vegetation.
Sorry, which page are you on? I apologize.
On page 25 now. Number 21. I find that very strange in Baldwin to have a regulation that would say people couldn't cut trees down.
Can you read that again?
Yeah, the area on each lot where existing forest cover will be permitted to be removed and converted to lawn, structures, or other cover, and any proposed restrictions to be placed on clearing existing vegetation.
Kind of what I was talking about.
What's
Yeah,
that?
like if I were to add restrictions, right?
I don't know, is that, how does the board read that?
When we talked about that during the public hearing, was showing limits of clearing. And I still think it would be a good idea.
I think it's in two parts. One we talked about, but we probably talked about both of them, because one is, where's the building envelope?
Right.
You know, if you show where the building envelope is, that's where you're gonna clear. Right, to put a potential building. And then it wants to know if there are any restrictions that are gonna be placed on other vegetation besides, you know, where you're gonna remove and convert a house.
I mean, I suppose it would make sense if we're talking about, for instance, on 107, when we were doing the marina structure, and we wanted to have a vegetated buffer to San Pond. So we specified in that we specified the zone that they should leave as a vegetated buffer. So that would make sense. This would make sense to me if we're talking about a vegetated buffer or something like that. It doesn't seem consistent with the way we deal with stuff if we said you can only cut down so many trees, just as a general proposition, as Joe was saying. So I'm not really sure how I'd respond to that. And it's a little bit about what I was talking about before, but on a 73-acre lot, it seems a little odd to restrict where you can cut trees.
There are a couple of different ways to restrict. One method was suggested that we restrict the clearing of land to the area that could be a building envelope. And the other way would be to say that the land couldn't be cut harder than 40 basal feet per acre.
That doesn't seem to be consistent with that subdivision.
Oh, okay, rather than forestry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we think this is something that's called for in the ordinance, I think it's reasonable to say that the swamps can't be cut over. The land that one can't use for building, and the land under the control control of the Saco River Corridor Commission. Not under the control, under the interest of the Saco River Corridor Commission.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What about endangered species? If we're talking about vegetation?
Did we check that? You checked that? I thought I saw that paperwork in there, in the application.
And what was that
So-
like in this subdivision, or was that in the general area?
So what they do is they don't tell you where these endangered species are. Because they assume that somebody's gonna say, oh, there's an endangered species out there, I gotta go stomp on it.
Yeah.
So they tell you it's vaguely in the area, and they will check it for you. Famously, Baldwin has the small whorled Pogonia. And we therefore protect it. And the ironical thing about the small whorled Pogonia is that it benefits from clear cutting. So,
Which
anyway,
is what we're trying to avoid, though.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's talking about clear cutting. I mean, I just gotta say that every time we say it, just to make sure.
I'm just bringing this up and making sure we spend time on it, because it looks as if we're called on to deal with this.
Which one are you talking about again?
Number 21. And we could say we have no restrictions, if that's what the board would like.
Sorry, may I offer an opinion?
Sure.
I would say at this time, we've shown the areas that can be cleared as a buildable area. It is in a forested area, so clearing in general may happen on there, and we would be open to, we can have further discussion as we get the final, final approval on that.
Okay.
And Andrew and I will talk about potentially showing those, rough areas.
Okay.
I think the reason they might have that in there, if you're taking a 75 or 100 acre tract and it's wooded, it's part of the heritage of the area. If you're gonna convert it to a subdivision, sometimes you might wanna restrict it so you can't take out the stone walls. You have to leave certain amounts of the forest as a condition for breaking up the forest. It gives you a way to control that. You can only build here and there, and you have to maintain certain.
Sure. I mean, there may be, there's no special interest, so to speak, about this land, and that could very well be.
And that's an appeal sometimes to people in the subdivision because they know certain things are protected.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I believe that's why that's in there. I can't guarantee it. I think that's what that's referring to.
So we'll circle back to that later on, give Jamie and Andy a chance to talk about it, and us to think about it. That's why this process on a major subdivision takes so long. If any portion of the subdivision is in a flood-prone area, the boundaries of any flood hazard areas and 100-year flood elevation, you have,
On the existing condition survey plan, we delineate those.
yeah, you've got that on there. Hydrological assessment prepared by certified geologist or registered professional engineer experienced in hydrology when the subdivision is not served by public sewer.
It's provided in section 5.
Yep.
By both an engineer and a geologist.
Any part of the subdivision is located over a sand and gravel aquifer. Is this located over an
A
aquifer?
portion of it is, that's why we provided the hydrogeological study.
Did you show the limits in that anywhere?
It's in the application packet.
Yeah,
No,
they show the limits on that?
yes. And that was what triggered it, because we don't meet the density requirement of the 100,000.
Right.
So that's why we provided that order.
So that was the next thing, talking about the 100,000 square feet per dwelling unit, and you're not nowhere close to that. The board may require hydrological assessment in other cases where site considerations involve design indicate greater potential of adverse impacts on groundwater quality. I don't think so. Your especially down along the river, is being very sparsely developed.
What number was that?
What?
What number was that?
That was number 23. So what that number 23 talks about is if the development is less than 100,000 square feet per dwelling unit, which doesn't apply.
So it wouldn't apply here.
Yeah. An estimate of the amount and type of vehicular traffic to be generated on a daily basis and at peak hours.
Yeah, in section 1, we provide a traffic narrative.
Yep. An estimate of the amount and type of vehicular traffic generated on a daily basis and at peak hours. For subdivisions involving 40 or more parking spaces or projected to generate more than 400 vehicle trips per day. I don't think there is 40 or more parking spaces, and I don't think there's 400 vehicle trips per day. In the 26 areas within or adjacent to the proposed subdivision, which have been identified as high or moderate value wildlife habitat by the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife or within the comprehensive plan. So we do talk about the comprehensive plan at planning board meetings. If any portion of the subdivision is located within an area designated as a unique natural area by the comprehensive plan or the Maine Natural Areas Program, the plan shall indicate appropriate measures for preservation of values which qualify the site for such designation, but this has not been designated as a having high wildlife values. That's the thing about Baldwin, is pretty much average all across the town. Go ahead,
It's not
please.
a high wildlife area?
It's not designated.
Oh, designated.
Pretty sure there's lots of critters out there.
Yeah.
That's why we don't have chickens.
Yeah, understand.
I got chased today by you call that, not dog, wild dog, it's a
Coyote.
coyote. Tony wants to run across our lawn. It looks pretty healthy, I think it's pretty good.
If the proposed subdivision is in the direct watershed of a great pond, no, it isn't, and qualifies for simplified review procedure for phosphorus control. So, the plan shall indicate the location and dimensions of vegetative buffer strips or infiltration systems, and the application shall include a long-term management plan for all phosphorus control measures. No. So we got through all that. So what we're going to do next is answer some of these questions. You got that? We got what we're looking at. And we should probably have another meeting to make sure everything's okay before we go on to accepting the preliminary plan, and then we go on to the final plan for major subdivision, page 27. If you want to know, and yeah, that's where we are.
I would ask, is there any opportunity to close out the preliminary tonight? And that we're not done, we still got another public hearing, we've got a final application.
John, there's only a few minor points in relation to that. The biggest one was, what I'm getting is the area of clearing. We're talking about again, the Saco River, the driveways, fire department.
For the first one, yes, as part of this, but the rest of that will be. outside the preliminary and into final, or final.
I would think that we're probably in good shape. I think these are issues we could work through in the final review, and
We're glad we have everything.
I mean, you hear our concerns, they're gonna come up again during finals, so maybe you start addressing it now.
Oh, no, that's the intent.
Joe, I would move that we accept the application.
So we have a motion to accept the preliminary application.
Well, it's not so much accepting it, it's the board shall determine whether the application is complete. And
I would
notify
rephrase
the
that.
applicant in writing of its determination. Now, and then, once you do that, see, it spells out exactly what we should be doing. First thing is that we have 30 days from the time the preliminary application was accepted to determine if it's complete and notify the applicant that it's in writing. We received it on July 10th. We have until August 9th to let them know that it's complete. And then from August 9th, you have 60 days, which is to October 8th, to make your findings of fact on the application and approve or approve with conditions. So the determination of completeness is different than your approval or approval with conditions. And you know, or to deny the preliminary plan application. And in those 60 days, you can determine whether you want to have another public hearing or not, which we do. So, it's all right here. Okay. So, if you're looking for a second to determine whether the preliminary application is complete, I think that we're fine doing that tonight. And then we should schedule the next public hearing. And we have 60 days from tonight. Then if we determine it's complete, we have 60 days to do our finding of fact and approve it or approve it with conditions. And I think the stuff that you were talking about tonight are the conditions that you want to see on the preliminary plan application, right?
Final,
Fine.
final and preliminary.
Preliminary. This is all in section 7. We don't even talk about the final plan application until we get to section 8.
Can I make a point of order, or just a question? I'm sorry, you said point of order, it's in my head. I appreciate where you're going in that we have 4 items that we're gladly going to provide you, but are not in the approval of the preliminary application of the steps we're going down through. We will gladly do that. I don't want to be a slave to time, I guess the best way to put it, and that we will address these comments, we'll turn this around, but I'd be remiss to ask the town to take the full 60 days to determine the findings of fact.
I don't think we have to.
Yeah. I know. I just want to put it on the.
I think Joe drove a really good start tonight on the findings of fact, because the way you do the findings of fact is to go through all of the requirements for the content of the preliminary plan. But in terms of not being slaves to that list, the things that we're adding here tonight are under section I. When granting approval to a preliminary plan, the board shall state the conditions of such approval. and that's why we're adding those.
Yeah, and that's a clarification, and I apologize if I didn't finish, was that we would then come back and those would be corrected in the final plan.
I don't think we necessarily have to have them all, but those are the conditions for approval of the preliminary plan.
I have a question. For the preliminary plan, is it, I mean, so nobody on Pigeon Brook or I'm guessing, the abutting land across from the river got letters? So wouldn't that be part of meeting to have the preliminary passed? So then, like, we didn't get letters, so that's kind of another piece.
That'll be corrected because you'll get letters for the next, meeting.
The next public hearing.
And, yeah, and again, if we vote tonight to determine that the preliminary application is complete, that's just, kind of ticking off that everything looks like it's here, but it's not an approval. And then we have another public hearing, and then, we don't necessarily have to wait 60 days, but then we vote on whether we're actually approving the preliminary plan. But that vote on whether to approve the preliminary plan will not happen until you all get your letters and we have another public hearing. And what could, you know, one of the things that could come out of that is prior to the approval, the board may require additional information be submitted where it finds it's necessary in order to determine blah, blah, blah. But I think we're identifying those things, but, you know, we never know what's going to come up at another public hearing. And then we go on to section 8, which is the final plan.
Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, I think
We don't put a lot of planning board meetings and stuff.
I think I kind of, I'm not sure, but I think there's two elements that are missing from this for a preliminary plan. It's number 21. And I think all that requires a proposal from the applicant. But I think the other thing that is not on here is the driveway. And I have mentioned the driveway multiple times, and asked to have it on there.
That's on the list we just made.
I know, but what they're saying is they meet the basic requirements of the preliminary plan, so we should accept the preliminary plan as complete tonight and then move on. And I'm concerned that without 21 and without the driveway on here, I'm not sure it's complete. Although I totally hear your desire to keep going.
I just would contend that the driveway, is that on the list of things for approval? I'm not trying to be nitpicky, I apologize.
Not approval for acceptance, right?
No, preliminary approval.
Okay. Right, fair enough.
Well, aren't these things we can discuss in the next 60 days?
The width and
Before we approve
location of any streets, public improvements, open spaces shown on official map and comprehensive plan, if any. No, that's not it. Well, I've asked for it, so I mean, I guess that's all I care about, but.
And I do recognize we've asked for it, it came up on the sidewalk and just the timing of trying to stay with the official submission date deadlines for things too, we're trying to.
But I think this is your problem. I mean, I think you have a problem putting this driveway in, so I don't think it's easy as just writing it on the map, because your pathway seems to go straight through the resource protection at the bottom of by the Saco River. I don't know if that creates any issues, or if the Saco River Corridor Committee could have problems with you getting that close to the Saco River. I don't think it's as easy as this, right? That's why I keep asking you for it, because I don't think it's that easy.
And again, as part of the, when we come back in, I will provide you everything we have. The ordinance does allow, town does allow driveway access and resource protection.
David, I think my motion is that we accept the preliminary application.
That's complete.
Accept it as we submitted.
I guess we're in discussion.
And that will be issues that we need to discuss as in the next 60 days, which will be conditions of our final approval of the preliminary.
The interesting thing to me, listening to this, is that as far as I can tell, once we have satisfied the questions that were brought up, I don't anticipate any problems after that. I mean, it would appear to me to be very fast after that. We aren't used to approving things until we're comfortable with them, and we're not also used to this two-step process of 2 public hearings. So on our side, we're trying to do things the way we're used to. We don't do a lot of these subdivisions, but we'd like to get it down as to what it's supposed to look like.
I would note that preliminary approval does not guarantee us final approval for a subdivision ordinance, so it's not as far as for the public and town, it doesn't lock you into anything.
But I guess what I'm also saying, Jamie, is that total time, start to finish, probably isn't gonna be any different.
I'm more concerned with just hitting the cycle of planning board meetings, just as we ran into this one here, where we had and I appreciate you folks coming up for a special meeting tonight, it's really dope. I'm cognizant of, we have submission deadlines we have to make for the town. Then we set the scheduling of meetings, notices, and it does add up. So again, I'm not trying to be pushy, I'm not trying to ask you to support any policy.
So if we had another meeting on this, it doesn't have to be any notices until we get a public hearing.
And then the question on the public hearing, is that the final public hearing?
Yes. And what I would prefer to see is to be teed up with a product. You know, I hate to see us say, well, we won't fix this until the next time. I'd really like to see it done. Then I have confidence it's done. I'm not gonna have any confidence until I see it on a piece of paper.
And when we ask the questions, because I do run into these, I had a project with, I can't remember the organization, but they had questions.
Yep.
We met the requirement of reaching out to them. We then got preliminary approval, and then through that process resolved those issues that came up. And so again, that, in my understanding of the subdivision process, the preliminary is okay, you check the boxes. The final is where all the meat comes into everything. So that's the whole reason my questions come up.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to do anything different than you want.
Okay.
So what I would propose is and I know it's still discussing Don's motion, but I think that I am concerned about the fact that the letters weren't received. So that kind of bugs me because I'm the one who sent them.
Yep.
I think what I would propose is that that we don't find the application complete tonight. We set another hearing where we can send out notices again, or to consider the preliminary plan again, have them fix at least the 2 issues that I think are key for the preliminary plan, and then also set a final plan so we can notice the final hearing for the next meeting right after that. So they're both noticed. I think it's actually going to happen quicker for you if we do it this way than if we wait 30, 60 days, whatever it is.
Yeah, we're not, all I'm asking is that we see what we want to see for a finished product soon. You know, I don't want to put that off to 60 days. I want to see it before I go to a second public hearing.
Right.
But you're proposing that we do 3 public hearings,
Well,
in essence.
yeah.
Yeah,
To make sure there's no procedural issues with the notice to the abutters.
great.
So like, what's the next meeting?
So the next meeting is,
Eight?
no, the 7th is not a second Thursday of the month. So it's the 14th,
Okay,
which gives you some time to bring us to have answered our questions from tonight. If we meet on the 14th, and then,
does that give us enough time for shoppers guide notice?
so
You have 2 Wednesdays before the 14th. You have the 6th and the 13th. So today is the 31st. A notice of another public hearing on the 14th. If you want 2 notices in the shopper guide, it would have to be sent in tomorrow, okay? Or it is, on Monday, the 4th, I think sometimes they can still do it. And then it'll appear on the 6th, and you can tell them to run it twice. It'll appear on the 6th and the 13th. And when you send it into the shopper's guide, also send it to Robin so that Robin knows to put it on the town calendar,
Yeah.
because there was some confusion about that Robin, she knew about a special planning board meeting, but she didn't know the date, or she didn't have it on the town calendar. So we need to coordinate that.
Yeah.
So it's those 3 things. Get it to the shopper's guide on the 1st, or the very latest the 4th. It runs on the 6th. It runs on the 13th. Robin gets it on the town calendar, and and you send the abutter notices, and they have to be in people's hands by early next week. They have to go out like tomorrow too.
But it doesn't look like there's a time limit on those.
It's either 7 days or 10 days.
No, I think it doesn't say, or is there a general notice requirement?
there's a general notice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then what's the meeting after that?
And then the meeting after the 14th is the 28th.
So then in that same notice, say the 28th is the final,
Final public hearing.
yeah, on the final package. That's pretty clear.
I was just doing some math. I think you've landed me where I wanted to be. I appreciate it.
Unintentional.
Just to note on that 28th meeting, that'd be a public hearing and then go into a regular planning board meeting for the final.
Yes.
Right. At which time you may or may not receive approval.
I'm not asking for approval. I'm just asking for,
But is that like, so just so I'm clear on that though, is that,
that's final approval.
okay, so you have another meeting in 2 weeks, and then you have another public hearing on the 28th, and then following that, assuming that we give everything that's needed, answer all the questions that y'all have, then you will then vote, is that right?
So
You would then vote.
If everything
on
goes
the
smoothly.
14th, on the 14th, we would have to approve the preliminary plan, because we haven't even accepted it yet, let alone approved it.
We accepted it, but it's not, we didn't accept it as complete.
Right.
I mean, you're saying the same thing, I was just, yeah, we have to do multiple steps and multiple meetings.
Now, so let's say that on the 14th, we would accept it as complete and approve it, preliminary.
Yeah,
And then you're saying that in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna go, the 28th will be the final plan?
Yes,
public hearing, do the findings of fact, and determine whether or not we can vote on the final plan.
Well, we should take a look at section 8 to see if there's any other requirements in section 8 relative to the final plan.
so that's the
I
one.
only did the.
I know,
The checklist.
I'm being more sarcastic than anything.
That's what we have, we will have to run through next time we do one
But
of those.
he's saying, is there something in there that we should anticipate since we're studying that? Is there something that we,
Money. All applications for final approval of a major subdivision shall be accompanied by a fee of $25 per lot or acre.
I already submitted that.
That was for
This is again. You already
another
did
$175 per acre, per lot?
for lot or acre, whichever is greater.
No, I don't,
But you guys can talk amongst you, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you can read
We'll go
it, you'll
through
figure it
that.
out.
Let me just ask a question. Because we're gonna talk about this, the acre or lot. I fully appreciate again, major subdivision ordinance is designed for major subdivisions. This being 7, would the board entertain on the final approval going by lot versus acre? I believe we paid by acre on the first one.
I can't change that. That's my feeling. I don't see, I mean, I'd have to have somebody tell me I had wiggle room, and I don't see the wiggle room to do that. It shall be accompanied, it's not a, do you see room there, David?
I don't have it in front of me, but if it says shall is a pretty strong word.
But,
We don't need to put a vote on that.
Yeah, I mean-
I'll take and talk with Andrew.
yeah, I would also have to talk to the selectmen. If I'm refusing money,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's a sensitive topic, money.
Both sides of the coin.
Yeah, exactly.
I would just, when you're talking to the selectmen, about this topic, I would just please, and I'm sure you will, share that the plans that have been submitted in the investment, I don't have to give them the details, but there's been significant investment on my end and continued, extended, I think, even beyond what I expected, to ensure that the plan was done the right way, right? So from an investment perspective on my end, I definitely, come to the table with the right resources. So hopefully that would be taken into consideration when the decision is made on that.
So just looking ahead, you know, when you look at section 8, section 8C, prior to submittal of the final plan application, the following approvals should be obtained in writing where applicable. Maine Department of Environmental Protection under the Site Location of Development Act. So an approval from the Maine DEP, Maine Department of Environmental Protection under the Natural Resources Protection Act, or if a stormwater management permit or a wastewater discharge license is needed. Maine Department of Human Resources, but that's only if it is going to have, so you don't need that because it's only if it's a public water system. Maine Department of Human Services, if an engineered subsurface wastewater disposal, so you don't need that. And U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, if a permit under Section 404 of the Clean Water Act is required. It looks like the only thing you're going to need here is some approvals from the Maine DEP. Did you already get those?
No, we don't need any of these applications. The Maine DEP Site Location Act is a subdivision of 14 or more units or 5 or more commercial zones. This doesn't trigger it. The DEP Natural Resources doesn't trigger that, because we're not impacting, over an acre. And then the other ones are public well, public
Right.
water, and then the
So
grid water.
none of those,
None of those are applicable.
okay.
So one of the things we get into as we get further into this is, performance guarantees and things like a list of construction items and cost estimates that will be completed by the applicant prior to the sale of lots, and evidence that the applicant has financial commitments or resources to cover those costs. Somehow we have to deal with that.
The performance guarantee for site improvements is typically if you were the builder on the property, you'll provide, so you're gonna put a road in, you're gonna put utilities in. In this case, we're providing you locations of septic to show that they meet buildable lots, but we're not doing, and he's not doing any improvements as part of this.
So we have required people to do different things in lieu of posting a performance guarantee. What we are concerned with, and we have seen happen in town, is somebody, and don't take this as me saying you're not trustworthy, but somebody saying, oh, I can't afford to give this to my daughter anymore. I gotta sell it, and things are half done and there's no electricity in there, and, you know, it becomes a problem.
But there's already electric.
Hold on a second, that, sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
But that, again, I know where you're coming from. That's in a subdivision where you're putting in a road to create frontage, to create legal lots out of that, where you do want the developer to build a road base and you want them to run the water. If there's water there, you do want them to run sewer if there's sewer or underground power. In this case, these are all frontage lots. So I appreciate where you're coming from. I just want to give you our contention to it.
I tend to agree with that. I mean, where's the power end?
It's on the property line that runs.
Is on the property line. I mean, again, you're only, from my perspective, the only issue is lot 6. And that's why I really think that lot 6 has to be scoped out a little bit better. Is if we put requirements on what it has to look like, I don't think they necessarily have to put up a performance bond to say they'll do it that way. So if they sell it to somebody, then it's kind of locked in. But like if you weren't locked in, then there may be more of a desire to have you enhance the property as shown on the map. But like I tend to agree with you on that one. But
I just wanted to, there doesn't seem to be anything that's really not been addressed.
No, I think, from my interpretation, we'll knock these things out for you and we'll get it there.
Yeah.
If you do see something that I'm missing, or please email me, reach out to me so that we can
Sure.
adjust it.
Sure. No, this seems, it seems like we're very close. And I don't think we're holding you up. Are we holding you up, Andy?
No, I think I appreciate you all coming in for this special session. I know it's late and I appreciate the time and consideration, and I think Jamie, I think we've done, I think everything we're trying to do at this point. My ask is that we, this last part, we kind of keep it going, and I think Jamie said to me, if there's anything that they need, I'll get it to them tomorrow. And I would assume that you should have this pretty darn soon, like the answers to the questions you all have, so that you feel good going into this last meeting and the last public hearing, that you have everything you need and are informed to make an educated decision based on the data that we give you. So, no, I think if we can get this going and we have the next 2 meetings as planned in the next month, I think we'll be in good shape. And I appreciate all your efforts.
Can I ask one question of the board?
Sure.
I will tomorrow, if it's okay, send the response we received from the Saco River Valley Corridor Commission. If you deem that appropriate, would you be willing to let me know if you deem that appropriate, if I need to drill down further with that? I'll share the communications we've had back and forth with them.
Sure. We aren't allowed to communicate outside of the meeting. I hate to say.
Yeah,
that.
that's right, I apologize, yeah.
So I think you have to let them see the plan with the driveway. I think that may change their
I will,
interest level.
we'll communicate with them, but we have from the foundation of this told them that access is the road there, so
Yeah, that's cool.
I'll make sure we got it.
So I'd ask Don to withdraw his motion.
I do. Seeing no second, I mean, you can go on.
And then can we just go through, I know we've said it a bunch of times, but I'm a horrible handwriter. It's okay, I apologize. Just to go through the
I'm
form.
not the chair, he's the
I
chair.
thought you were the chair.
Yeah, I'm just a peanut gallery.
Oh,
There was a kerfluffle.
okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That's why I'm not looking at you.
I got
No.
kicked out, It's thrown.
You can work with David, not me, that's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Bail.
Quick as I could.
You will clarify line type for both, the culvert statement on the subdivision plan, as well as the shading for the buildable areas. We will reach out to the fire chief, and to opine on the project. We will coordinate with the Saco River Corridor Commission further. We will show driveways
Oh,
to all lots, yeah. I will call out on the plan a note for culverts to be coordinated with road commissioner or code enforcement officer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Is there anything else?
You had mentioned designate the trail legend.
Yes, yeah, that was on, sorry, that was on the line type.
So can you make the buildable area,
I'm gonna use
clear.
color, we'll use color on the next version.
great, okay.
Was it just?
So we're reserving judgment on number 27, and there was just something here about number 21.
I think there may have been a question from the peanut gallery.
Well, I was just, he was gonna reach out to the fire department, but I think something else was said about building code or somebody.
That's, noting that, if culverts are put into the property adjacent to the driveway, because it'll be put on here that that'll be in conjunction with this code enforcement officer and the, road commissioner.
Road commission, that was.
You said 21, and what was the other number?
27.
It's just really the driveway.
Yeah, number 21 and actually there's number 21. I have it written
Okay.
twice.
I was
One
reading
looks like a
27.
7. So,
All right, who's doing the notices? Am I doing it again?
you did such a great job.
I'll take a picture of them and send them to the board.
Was it not in the newspaper though? Was it?
It has to be both, it has to be both mail and shopping.
And then there was some confusion with Robin not knowing. So, there was those, yeah.
I wasn't confused.
No,
We'll make sure she.
David, do you have a list of property owners?
Same one I used before, plus,
You send that to me and I can.
yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk to.
So the
I
key
guess-
things are the 14th and the 28th are the next planning board meetings, and they will both be, public hearings, followed by planning board meetings, where we're gonna wrap up both the preliminary plan on the 14th and the final plan on the 28th, barring any unforeseen requirements that would stretch it out longer.
Yeah, if they fail to do what they said they're gonna do, then we just scrap the plan.
I'm sure they're not gonna fail.
I'm only wrong at home.
Anything else we did today?
I don't think so.
Did they do any of those burn things over the weekend?
Apparently they did. Don, do you wanna tell us,
the latest in the saga of B11-107? I can do that. I went down there Saturday morning to see what was going on, and he came out and was very uncooperative, didn't have much good to say about the planning board, the select board, the town was correct. The town's breaking the rules, he's not right. All that, and he said, sending me a letter doesn't cut it, it has to be registered, which is true. On the other hand, if he doesn't sign for it, never happens. He said, so you're never gonna catch me. And I'm gonna do it after I want, the guy doesn't want you. And I called me back up and they sent my cases. And we were in, and came out again, got me into the 6 hours. And I served him the paper. So that counts. So he's been duly served. And I'll be meeting with the select board tomorrow afternoon, and we're making plans to get it in the court. Hopefully what we can do is get a temporary order that prevents him from having any more burnouts until the thing is resolved by the court. Whether we'll succeed at that, I don't know. But that's what the plan is, because it's impacting a lot of people.
Good night.
Good night, thank you. Thank you.
Other than that, if you have any questions, I'll answer them if I can.
That was a pretty damn good summary.
But we're on top of it, we'll get it straightened out.
I meant to go and I took a nap.
It looked like I was being arrested for a major bus.
He was strong.
They were in front of me, behind me, everywhere.
Well, he is the gentleman who came to the door with a firearm to meet the police officer one day, so.
Right, well, they have a pretty heavy stack of complaints against him, and they want to get it resolved in the county level.
I didn't know somebody who had been a guest of the state could have a fire.
I think that was part of the problem. I'm only repeating what was in the public newspaper, so.
Okay.
I think that was part of the, disagreement between law enforcement and the individual.
And the reason why maybe was a guest a second time.
I have no knowledge of that, but that would probably be the reason. But, I mean, that's all, it didn't take stuff out.
Yeah.
Not spreading rumors.
You went through it in Gorham, as you pointed out, so you learn how to do it. So,
Yeah, he used to live right on, 114 there. I'm not talking to him, he's not bad. I mean, coming here, he's not a bad guy. I mean,
he's just irritated at the moment.
yeah, I mean, look, he wants to do something with his property, and
Right.
there's people who don't want him to do it, and I'm sure he's frustrated.
And I said to him when he came out by the road, because I was parked across the street from the driveway, how he knew I was there. I don't know, so he got down.
Yeah.
So I said, the thing to do is to sit down and have a discussion. And I said, if you want to talk with me, and then he's anyone, but he just talked right over it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's pretty amped up if he had some events, so.
And he's not willing to do that. I sent him the notice of violation, which he admitted he got, but I guess it still wasn't legal, which is why we did the other stuff. But I put a cover letter in with it, asked him if he come in and try to resolve it. Which I think that's.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for explaining things like
Yeah.
the process. It makes it a little less mysterious.
Don't hesitate to ask. I am really aware of what it's like to be on that side, and, you know, how we're just using buzzwords sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, please ask.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yep.
He said I was brought on board at the town to run my town, and I don't think I have that kind of authority to run people.
The enforcer.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate the update, I was just curious, 'cause I do hear it at my house as well. I'm sure you hear it.
It's probably gonna.
I smelled it at my house this weekend. Yeah.
And especially Saturday where they had that pollution alert out for air quality and everything. I thought they might be able to help a little more. It's still classified as a misdemeanor. Yeah. I think there comes a time when it's a little more than that. We cross that. Yes, it's quite good.
Well, somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn? I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you, man.
I don't know after the last meeting, somebody did.
I'll try to stop by tomorrow.
It was right on that table before, I'm not sure. Yeah. I thought someone from the planning committee probably circled it last meeting. I'm not sure.
No, don't have that may be next year, because I want to go to Alaska. I only have 7 more states to go. I know, but to go to Canada.
I think a lot of that stuff about trees and federal building, it's to do with the right and that land.
I did too. And I think everybody's realized, you know, hey, if it's their land, we're gonna do it.
Especially where you near the river.
I mean, that's my whole issue with this whole thing. I'd like to see them give the town a buffer.
Something
That's
like
the green part.
I think that's why,
That's the green part.
that's the wild
That's
part.
why I'm going to
Is
South
this,
Dakota.
is the Saco River.
They might have an issue.
Yeah,
I don't know, they might want to say, wait, no.
Getting the message to that.
Go
but
there,
we're gonna
and they
approve
might
this
start
thing,
approving
so
the
if you have anything to say about it, you need to say it.
Well, actually, I make it till they start building, because
Yeah.
once you have lots in a subdivision, people come
Good
in
point.
and assume they can build. And that isn't necessarily true.
It'd be nice if he donated the property on the side.
My land, and I can do whatever the hell I want.
That's right, you can.